Greetings and salutations from beautiful Miami, Florida. Burr, 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 burr. So listen, there comes a point in time in most men's lives where they look up and they say, hey, I kind of dress like shit. Now, for a lot of us, it's when we're teens, but sometimes it takes some of us a little bit more time to catch up. That's okay. No shade, just facts. Now, with that said, I made this right here to give you a few tips to help you navigate the wild world of men's fashion. So listen, it's summertime in Miami, as it pretty much always is. I'm hot as hell, so I'm not gonna keep you waiting for too much longer. So let's get into the tips. John, I got one question for you, Playboy. What's one crucial tip that you got for someone who's trying to get into men's fashion?
Rule number one, I would say, is to find your tribe. It could be the designers, it could be the cuts of the garments, it could be the message that the brand is trying to come across that resonates with you. But I say that's one of the first steps to getting into fashion, because when you spend your money on it, it'll be something that you really feel important to you and you'll value it that way. And when you wear it, you'll have that confidence, you know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing with drip, it's confidence. It's how you wear it, not what you're wearing.
As my boy John said, find your style tribe and also find your style. Now, we're gonna talk about style tribes in just a minute, but the first thing that you really need to be focusing on is your actual style. Now, discovering your style is not the easiest thing in the world to do. It takes quite a bit of trial and error. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes along the way, but it's okay. And if you didn't already know, I am an older guy. You can call me Uncle Crooked. So I have a lot of experience in discovering my style. Now, the first thing that I would say to do when you're trying to discover your style is to use your eyes. Follow your instincts. Use your own sensibilities. What colors stand out to you? What shapes, what silhouettes stand out to you? Trust that your instincts are navigating you towards something that will work for you. Now, it's gonna take a little bit of refinement. You're not gonna get it right at the very beginning. You're gonna definitely pick up some stuff that's pretty bad. Or you're just gonna end up falling into whatever the hot trend is. And listen, trends aren't bad. We all kind of hop down on trends. I'm wearing a crop shirt right now, even though I bought this shirt before crop shirts were cool. But the thing about trends is they're only really for a time period and they come and go. What you wanna do is establish a baseline style for yourself and then build on top of that. So now that you're looking at the things that you're gravitating towards, make a mood board. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it the traditional way with all of the digital tools we have right now, like our laptops and our iPads, or, you know, for you Android users, I guess whatever tablets you have to use, and our phones. But what you wanna do with this mood board is you wanna go out and you wanna source some things that you feel like you identify with. Watch some fashion shows, look at some influencers, you know, just look around and see what other people are wearing, and once again, trust your instincts, see what you gravitate toward. Then you're gonna take all of that stuff and you're gonna compile it, and you're gonna go ahead and then pin this stuff onto it. And you can make little notes like, oh, I really dig this. This looks great for the summer. I like the top, but I don't really like the bottoms. And speaking of pulling inspiration, pull inspiration. Don't be afraid to look and see what others are doing, especially if you aren't already well versed in like men's fashion and style. And by the way, this is applicable to pretty much anyone trying to find their style. I just happen to be a dude and I like men's fashion. Go to your sites like Pinterest, go to Instagram, look around, type in some keywords, type in some brands that you discovered that you kind of like. I would also say pull inspiration from in real life. I used to actually pull a lot of inspiration from homeless fits in Chicago, because I actually thought some of the homeless guys really excelled at layering. Like, the layering was just impeccable. I was just seeing these like incredible shapes and styles by just looking at a guy trying to survive in the streets. You could get inspiration from buildings, the shape, the structure. You could get inspiration from, oh, I don't know, like flowers, you know? I mean, come on, nature is one of the best places to go to get truly natural inspiration for like color combos. I mean, it is literally the way things are supposed to be. So you pulled your inspiration, you got it on your mood board, you feel like you're ready to rock. But you're like, Uncle Marcus, didn't you mention something about some style tribes? Why, yes, I did. A style tribe, as John said earlier in our little talk, is essentially a group of people who have the same kind of fashion sensibilities that you do. Now, this is gonna be another great place for you to glean inspiration, but also get information. They can give you some tips on how to style things, maybe give you some insight on what they're wearing, maybe even give you a backstory on how they got into the style that they're in or the brands that they love. But it's also nice to have people that you kind of relate to, who have a style that you can look at and feel like, hey, I would actually fit in with that particular group. Because we're humans, man. Like, we like to be around other people. I mean, that's just kind of the human thing. And there's nothing wrong with applying those same principles to fashion, because fashion is just another way to connect with other humans. I've made so many friends just because I dress kind of cool. I think at least I dress kind of cool. So we found what direction we think we want to take the style in, and we found maybe our style tribe. So what's next on the list? Probably a towel, because I'm sweating my balls off, but also it's time to try some shit on. Now, fit is the most important part of fashion, and knowing what fits your body is going to be the key to mastering your style. Now, everybody type is different and everybody can't wear everything, and that is why you really need to go and try a few things on. Now, I would suggest rolling up to some stores in your area that may carry some of the brands that you like or some of the styles that you like, but if you're like I was when I was growing up, I just really didn't have that type of stuff available because I lived in a small town called Greenville, North Carolina. Now, if you're sitting at home watching this video and you're saying to yourself, but Unc, I live in a small town like you used to, what would you recommend I do? Well, I recommend you ordering a few pieces online. There are a few rules that come along with this. First of all, make sure you read the return policy thoroughly. You don't want to get stuck with some stuff that doesn't fit you or that you just don't want. Now, I would also recommend you read some reviews, because they will say that return policy is fast, simple, and easy, but you read reviews and you find out that it is not that. Now, I would only recommend you doing this if you have the expendable income to do so. You don't want to be stuck in a situation of desperation trying to sell some clothes that didn't fit you well, knowing that they either don't have any resale value or it's going to take you a very long time to sell them. Selling your clothes online is difficult, but maybe we'll talk about that another time. Now, once you get in the fitting room or once you get your packages in, I recommend trying them on and taking some photos of each and every piece, including the ones that don't fit. Now, you're going to take this and put it on your mood board to see how it matches up with your influences. Do you look as good as you thought you would in the clothes? You will know when you see it whether or not these clothes fit the way they intended. Now, make sure when you put it on your mood board, you write notes, including the designer name, the piece, what season it came from, just so you can have a point of reference when you're going back and looking. Now, you also want to make sure that you keep a tape measure handy. Now, also make sure that you take measurements of the pieces that fit you well. I'm going to put down below in the description a video that kind of shows you how to measure your clothes. So I definitely use that as a point of reference, just so I don't bog down this video trying to tell you how to do it. Now, you've gone through your try on and you're kind of seeing what's going on, and you did all this research on brands and styles that you would like, and it's not fitting quite how you expected it to fit. Don't worry, there are generally brands that take influence and inspiration from other brands and put a new spin on it. So let's say, for example, when you were doing your research, you got really into the slim rocker aesthetic of Saint Laurent Paris, but you're really built like this. Now, those slim silhouettes on the whole probably won't fit you, but there is a brand I would at least recommend you look into, and all you SLP fans out there and fashion heads out there, just stick with me on this one. Midnight Studios actually takes a lot of inspiration from SLP and the like. You can see the slim rocker DNA in the brand, but the cuts are a little bit more modernized with that more boxy kind of oversized cut. Now, they still do a slim jean, not quite as skinny as that classic SLP jean, but they are slim and may work a little bit better for this body type. And you see, you can still get some really cool stuff that fits the aesthetic you have in mind. You just may have to think outside of the box a little bit. I told you finding your style was not gonna be easy, but it's very rewarding when you finally do. Now, while I have you here on this beautiful rooftop, would you consider clicking that subscribe button for me? Okay, so we've figured a few things out. We've figured out our style / our style tribe. So we kind of got that down. We have tried on a few things, so we think we kind of know what works best for our body. So what's next? All right, now it's time to fill out the closet, except for it's not. You want to start small and you want to build out from there. Now, the first thing I would say is to start off with secondhand, as it is a very good way to pick up a few foundational pieces for a pretty good price. And you may actually end up falling into a few designer pieces as well for a great price. Now, even when buying secondhand, moderation is gonna be the key. Really hone in on those pieces that actually speak to you. Don't just grab it because it's cheap or you think you can do something with it, but really hone in on the stuff that you think is gonna fit the style direction you wanna go in. Now, the next thing I would say focus on is building out with some good quality basics. So spend a little bit more on quality basics. Now, when it comes to basics, there's a lot of different tiers. You have your lower tiers like your fast fashion staples, your H&Ms, your Zaras, etc., etc., etc. You have your mid tier like your Levi's or your J. Crew or your Gap. And then you have your upper tier, which is kind of like your designer brands. Now, what I would say is it doesn't necessarily matter where you go, particularly for these pieces. I would personally stay away from fast fashion for your basics, but I can't sit here and pretend that I haven't gotten some good quality basics from some of these fast fashion places. Now, stay inside your budget. Don't overextend yourself. If fast fashion is the way that you need to go that way. But even when you are, spend in moderation, touch and feel the fabric. Make sure it feels like it will hold up well. You also have those up and coming brands that tend to make some really good product. A lot of times you can find out about these up and coming brands from YouTubers like myself, or also from your style tribe, as well as just kind of looking around on places like Reddit, scrolling your Instagram feed, like that type of thing. Now, with that said, style takes a lifetime to figure out. You're not in a rush to get anywhere. Keep kind of playing around and testing things out and figuring out what's gonna work the best for you. And when you're buying, my personal recommendation is for you to stick with those neutrals, your grays, your tans, your creams, your blues, and of course, my favorite, your black. I say all of that to say you're gonna need to learn the art of rotation. So we're kind of figuring out our style. We're kind of figuring out our style tribe. We've tried a few things on, so we know our body type a little bit. We know what fits work best for us. And we're starting small and we're building up from there. Now, since we're starting small, we're probably not gonna have that many pieces to work with. But don't worry, we're gonna learn the art of rotation. So the art of rotation is really being able to take a small selection of pieces and being able to mix and match them together in a way that it doesn't look like you're wearing the same thing over and over again. This will keep your outfits looking fresh and creative, even though you're wearing the same things over and over again. This is why I said in the last section to buy those neutral colors. When you're buying bright colors that really stand out and make statements, those things are gonna stick out in people's minds. So when you wear it 3 times in 1 week, somebody's gonna notice. This will also keep your creative juices flowing and help you really hone and sharpen your style. So once you get all those pieces in, whether you ordered them or you bought them from a store, lay them all out, try different combinations together. Once again, take photos, put them on your mood board, compare it to the styles that you've seen. And it'll give you a point of reference on those days when you really feel like you don't know what to wear and your creativity is just really not flowing or you're in a rush. You have these go-tos on your mood board that you can go back to and you don't feel like you're wearing the same thing over and over again. I told y'all that mood board was gonna come in handy. At the end of the day, when you're creating your rotation, it should really focus on cut, fit, those little fine details that are on the garments that really make them stand out, but they're also very subtle. You're really trying to do things to complement your body the best way and make you feel good and confident every day, even though you know you don't have very many pieces to work with. This will also keep you from over-consuming, as it is very easy to do when you start getting into fashion. Build out a great rotation and you'll be getting crazy compliments on how much you've upgraded your style in no time. Now that you've built a really good rotation, it's time to figure out what your niche is.
I got one question for you, bro. What's one crucial or essential tip you would give to someone trying to get into menswear or men's fashion?
Men's fashion, okay. The one tip I got for everybody out there is a sense of direction. So have a sense of direction in how you approach fashion, whether that be if you're gonna be a colors person, or are you gonna be a patterns, or are you gonna do dimensions, whether that's like big bottoms, short tops, big bottoms, however, like have a basis for wherever you wanna go, and then you just niche it down. Niche it down as small as you can get it, and by that process, you'll create your own different, unique way of doing things. And even when trends come out, once you already have your little niche style of doing things, you can add that onto a trend, and it's, you know what I mean? You out of here with your own sense.
This is the fun part of fashion. It's looking at your style as a form of art, and your body is the canvas.
Now that you have the basics down and you kind of understand the brands that work best for you and the shapes and silhouettes that work best for you, it's time to deep dive into that. If the boxy cropped look works well for you, maybe instead of doing a t-shirt, try out a cropped blazer. If the boot cut flare style is working for you, why not try something that's a little bit wider in the leg but still has that flare? It is a way for you to inject some personality into your looks. And as you dig deeper and deeper into finding your style, you'll develop a signature look. And I think that is the most important part of discovering your style, finding your signature look. Now that's gonna come from niching it down, getting deeper and deeper into those things that are working for you, into those brands that are working for you, and finding more and more styles and silhouettes that fit your body just right. And remember, the most important thing I can really tell you about growing and developing your style is to never box yourself in. And I feel like I have to stress that, especially when talking about men's fashion, because I feel like a lot of times we as men really like to box ourselves in. We feel like we can only wear certain things because that is what's going to define us as a man. But at the end of the day, what defines you as a man is really what you do as a person, not what you wear. So make sure when you put that shit on, you wear it with confidence. I've seen people walking around in outfits that I may have thought were bad, but the way they were wearing it really made me believe that outfit was actually pretty damn good. And a little bit of confidence in yourself goes a long way. So get out there, find your style, experiment, go from being a normie into a fashion god. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you will probably like one of the two on the screen. And if this video helped you out in any way, shape, form, or fashion, go ahead and leave me a little comment down below and let me know what you thought. And most importantly, until next time, peace. What's that last one? What the fuck is that last one?